Mike Florio floats around that the Chicago Bears may have to clean out and fire most of their front office if they really want to land Ben Johnson. Should the Bears really look into doing that if it means landing the hottest coach on the free agent market? We're going to talk about all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And we got an update. So Mike Florio, this is speculative. Do not take this as gospel or anything like that. Just an interesting conversation to have. Mike Florio says this. You got to read the tea leaves, connect the dots. I think for the Bears to even have a remote chance at Ben Johnson, they're going to have to clear out the front office. It's the cover charge to try to get Ben Johnson. Now, and this was said on 670 The Score, I don't know if Mike Florio has, talking about reading the tea leaves, the Bears have already started their head coaching search. It just is what it is. They've already started their head coaching search. Ryan Poles is not going to get removed. And I think the question that we have, and this is why I said it's an interesting conversation piece to have, is that should the Bears, if it means landing Ben Johnson, pivot to firing their whole front office to just land a head coach? And the Bears, let me be clear here, it's not happening. Right? If the Bears are going to be willing to fire Ryan Poles, they would have done so before this coaching search already started. George McCaskey has already said he wants Ryan Poles to run this situation. Ryan Poles is going to be the one to run point. Kevin Warren is there basically for support to help back up, things like that. This is Ryan Poles' coaching search. And listen, I know that so many Bears fans that don't really that allow the media speculation to become their opinion are all in on thinking that it's Ben Johnson or bust when it comes down to this. But it would be one of the stupidest things that any front office has done, that any organization, I should say, has done, if they're willing to fire their entire front office for a head coach that's a first-time head coach. Now, again, we can have a separate conversation on if the Bears should have fired Ryan Poles anyway. But to say that they should do that just to hire a first-time head coach, I'm sorry, all my Ben Johnson fans, cover your ears, pray to your God because I'm about to piss y'all off. That's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. There's not been any successful front office a successful organization that has been willing to fire their whole entire front office just to land a first-time coach. It'd be different if you were talking about landing a coach that had the cachet of a repeated Super Bowl winning cachet. And then you said, well, to land this guy, we're going to have to give him power. He's going to have some say in the front office. We don't know if that's going to vibe with the front office that we have. We're willing to do X, Y, Z to appease that coach. And if you sit here and you come in this chat and you think it's smart, again, please learn to separate what I'm saying here. I am in no way saying that the front office, that the ownership should not have considered firing Ryan Poles. That's not what I'm saying here. These are two separate conversations. I'm saying that if the Bears already made the decision that they wanted to hold on to Ryan Poles, which they had, it would be asinine and stupid to then fire that front office just to get a first-time head coach. It's stupid. It's dumb. I don't care how you view Ben Johnson. That is not the way an organization has ever been successful. Now, again, that's a separate conversation from saying, should Ryan Poles still be in this position? That's separate. But if you've already came to the point that you've decided that Ryan Poles is the guy that you want to run this coaching search, you don't pivot off that just to land a first-time head coach. You don't do it. You don't do it. It's stupid. And Mike Florio has been in this business for longer than I have been alive. And that is one of the stupidest things that he could say. One of the stupidest things that he could say. Again, this is not a knock on Ben Johnson and where he is as far as a candidate for the head coaching role, but it's stupid to float that around. Now, Mike Florio also said this: I think it requires you to have a clear understanding of where you stand relative to the other teams. If you want Ben Johnson, you have to have an ear to the ground about what Ben Johnson wants, what he's looking for. The whole notion of Johnson prioritizing alignment with the front office is code for I want to hire my own guy. And so what did the Raiders do 2 after they fired coach Antonio Pierce? They dumped GM Tom Telesco. There's a reason for the 48-hour break. If you're going to clean house, you clean house. I think the Raiders recognize if we want to have a shot at Ben Johnson, and this comes from a conversation not with the candidate, but with the agent. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's dumb. This just is what it is. Well, the guy doing the hiring isn't going to hire a guy that wants him fired. So yeah, it's stupid. Exactly. Right? As of right now, the odds of the Bears landing Ben Johnson is at negative 125. I wish the Ninja would. McCaskey, come on. Like, I know y'all got to be smart enough to realize the McCaskies aren't selling the team. You got to be smart enough to realize that, right? I'm so sick and tired of hearing about the Ben Johnson hype machine. I guess that you probably meant hype machine. Listen, and again, I'm not saying that this is coming from Ben Johnson himself. For all I know, Ben Johnson is reading this shit and laughing at it himself. But whoever the people around him are, the people talking about him, it's just, listen, I would hate for my name to be associated with some of the shit people are saying. Keep in mind, let's just go over what we've heard from the last month about Ben Johnson. A, he wants $15 million as a first-time head coach per year. B, he wants to hire his own GM from a different team. And he's going to teams saying that they need to clean out. Come on now. There's no way that Ben Johnson's doing all that. There's no way that Ben Johnson's doing all that. It can't be accurate. It can't be accurate. Hair Bear, first of all, that name is hilarious. Johnson isn't a proven coach, has no juice for that to be that foolish to demand that. Exactly. I agree with that. No, they don't. Well, I'm not saying they don't. They're not going to. The McCaskies are going to own the team as long as everybody who's old enough to drink that's watching this. He's literally going to, the McCaskies are going to own the team. Who does Ben Johnson think he is? Well, again, I want to be clear here. I don't actually think this is coming from Ben Johnson. I think this is coming from people around. And that's why I said I would hate it to be Ben Johnson and people are putting this much shit on my name. I would hate for that to happen. That would be like I'm somebody just as a grown ass man. I hate for people to put shit on my name that I didn't say. I hate for that to happen. Imagine this media cycle. You're sitting there trying to game plan for your team in the playoffs, and people are saying this type of stupid shit around you. So it's crazy. So when you add into that, right, on top of that, I guess while we're live, we might as well talk about the news. Reportedly, Aaron Glenn, one of the guys that the Bears have interviewed for the position, has a favorite in that he actually prefers going to the Lions. This is the defensive coordinator. I'm sorry, go to the Jets. This is the defensive coordinator of the Lions. And so that's another candidate potentially that could be running out for the Chicago Bears, which I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think the Bears kind of know who their candidates are coming up. Right? I think that. I want Mike and HC, Ron, and DC, and Brown at OC. Listen, you may want that. Like, and again, nobody's wrong for what you want. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that, we gotta keep an open mind. That just may not be what ends up happening. Haize, it wouldn't hurt to take a swing at Ben Johnson. Not gonna lie, for the ones that hate it, look at how LaFleur, Shanahan. Well, no, I don't. This conversation isn't about going after Ben Johnson being wrong or not. That's not the conversation here, right? The Bears are taking a swing at Ben Johnson, hence them interviewing him. So that's not the conversation here. Again, that's why I'm trying to, and maybe I'm not doing a good job. It's a different conversation that we're having here, right? Taking a swing at Ben is not a mistake at all. Changing the whole entire structure of your front office just for a first-time head coach, that's stupid. Now, again, that's also separate from saying, should Ryan Poles have a job or not? That's a separate conversation. I'm saying that just in the cone of whatever, if you pivot off whatever decision you were making just to obtain a first-time head coach, that's stupid. Stupid. I just want this coaching hire process over with. Oh, bro, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you, bro. 100% with you. Big Mike is the only candidate reported that was wine and dine, so we kind of have an idea who they want. It wasn't a Zoom call. Well, they can only do a Zoom call with Ben Johnson so far. That's why I said on today's daily episode, we won't really know until Ben Johnson is free and clear to do in-person interviews. He can't do in-person interviews yet. I do believe that they will do the same thing for Ben Johnson when they are allowed to have an in-person interview with him. Todd Monkenhays, you like him as a head coach for Caleb? Listen, it's okay. Like I said before, all of these candidates have their own pluses and negatives. They all do, right? And being objective, you can point to good and bad about all these potential coaching candidates. There's not one that's 100% clear cut. Oh, they're absolutely going to get you success. Poles can't afford to take a swing. Well, I mean, anything's a swing at this point. But I would say that he can't afford to miss. That's the biggest thing. Any hire is a swing, but he can't afford to miss on this. He cannot afford to miss, not if he wants to keep his job. Hope it's not true, but if it is, that is not good on his end at all. And that's why I said I'm throwing out doubt as well how much of this is actually coming from Ben Johnson. Because if this is coming from Ben Johnson actually, or even Ben Johnson's agent, they're stupid. They're really just stupid people. In my opinion, at least. But I just wanted to talk about that, man, and we'll see what happens, man. What if McCarthy gets hired and brings Lovey as his DC? Listen, I don't care who gets hired. Lovey as a DC, I'm not going to be mad at. Lovey Smith or Ron Rivera as your defensive coordinator, I'm not mad. I don't care who the head coach is. I'm not mad at that at all. Not mad at that at all. You can clean house, just leave Piles for one more year. He needs improvement. Poles, you mean? But that's not cleaning house then. If you're not going to leave Poles and clean because again, he chooses the front office. So that's not going to happen. Yeah, he kind of said, but unfortunately, like Caleb doesn't get the ultimate say in this either. But he also said in that, if we're going to talk about what he said in the podcast, he also said, hey, outside of that, no matter who we bring in, needs to have these qualities. So Caleb even realizes it may not be that. A two-time QB developing Super Bowl winning 66% all-time record run establishing trench building HC is not enough for us Bears fans. We're toxic, man. Listen, Bears fans are, it is what it is, man. That's all I can say. Bears fans are interesting. But all right, I just wanted to bring that news, man. I saw that article and I was like, I got to talk about this with my people, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following us at Shy Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. Like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down.